Hello guys, DiffTheEnder here again, and today I want to show you a video and some math on some masteries. To be specific, top lane masteries with the defensive tree, Indomitable and Tough Skin, and why reducing incoming damage is so strong that I will never go 21-9 for top lane. I'm always going to go 9-21. I hope you'll enjoy the math, and I hope you enjoy the result and can implement it in your game. So what do I mean when I say top lane masteries? Well, when I say top lane, I mean generally a bruiser, so AD bruiser. So you're thinking people like Darius, Irelia, Jarvan, Jax, Lee Sin. You know the type, Nasus, Olaf. You know what I'm talking about. And the masteries I want to talk about today are specifically, let's write this down, the Indomitable Mastery right here, and Tough Skin. Well, let's go ahead and put some points in this, so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, right, so what do these masteries do? So, Tough Skin reduces damage taken from minions and monsters by either 1, 0, 1, or 2. Indomitable does the same thing, except it applies to all incoming damage, and not just minions. So potentially you have 4 reduced damage from minions. Now, I wanted to see how strong this is, because top lane is one of those lanes where trading is quite common, and it's a battle of who can stay there the longest, battle of endurance. So, minion damage plays a big part in early trade. So, you know, top lane, you see people saying, you know, the person who gets the early level 2 will win the trade, they do a lot more damage, etc, etc. So, the implication there is that there are a lot of trades early game. So, and minions provide a significant portion of damage early game. So reducing that damage should be quite strong. Well, that was the theory anyway. So I did some math on it, as you might have expected. Firstly, I want to show you a new type of graph I've been trying out. It's a new software called Mathematica. So it's got this nice splash screen. Give it a second. There. It's not playing. Alright, there it is. Okay. So, as you can see, I can make a graph that you can then drag around for different values. So what this one does is says, if the incoming damage is X, so 20, 30, 40, and your current mat resist is, let's say, 50. You said, say you're taking 20 damage and you have 54 armor at the moment, then with the reduced damage you effectively have over 100 effective armor. So that's the type of graph that I'm going to be experimenting with. I might put it in later in one of my posts, so tell me if you want this type of graph. But for now, and for the simplicity of this video, I'm not going to use that type of graph. I will be using Excel. Okay. So, firstly, we need to make a couple of assumptions. There are 2 factors which affect how much damage you take and how much effective armor you have. So let's say you have 39 armor to start off with. 39 armor is 20 plus 13 plus 6. Why am I using those values? Well, if you look at this page here, which is a list of all the champions' armor, and you sort it by the amount of the base armor they have at level 1, you'll see that most of the bruisers end up at this end of the scale, which is from anywhere from around 18 to 23. I chose 20 as a nice round number, and it reflects quite accurately the base armor of a typical AD top lane bruiser. So they've got that 20 base armor, they've got 13 from armor seals, which almost everybody runs, and 6 from masteries, which would be these ones, hardiness. So that gives them 39 base armor at level 1. Let's take a look at how much effective armor you get due to the reduced minion damage. So, if you remember, it's 2 incoming damage blocked on top of 2 minion damage blocked. So that adds up to 4 reduced damage from minions. How much damage do minions do early game? Well, melee minions do 12 damage early game, and it scales up every 3 minutes, 15, by 1. And this one scales up by 28, 31, I believe. So they scale up every 3 minutes, but at level 1, from 1 minute 30 to 4 minutes 30, these are the damage values, which is what we'll need to analyze. So I made this graph here. So what this graph is saying is it shows you your effective armor increase with 39 armor. So if you have 39 armor and you're taking, what's this, 25. So 25 incoming damage, somewhere right in the middle here. And you're reducing that damage by 4 due to the masteries, then you have an effective increase of around 50 damage. Sorry, effective armor increase of 50. So your armor is basically acting like you've got 89 armor, even though you only got 39. So by reducing the incoming damage, you're negating a lot of damage. You're negating enough damage that it effectively feels like you have 89 armor. Keep in mind that this is only for minions. So as it may be clear, this is, what is this, Windows? Leave me alone. Okay, it may be clear this is a power relationship. The equation's up here. It's not perfect, but it's close enough to model the effective armor increase. Let me give you a specific number there. Okay, let's say damage is 25, armor increase, sorry, 39.76, so I wasn't reading that value correctly. So straight line from up here, yeah, 39, so right down there. And if you're taking damage from a melee minion, that would be an increase of 120. So it would be like you having 159 armor at level 1 against minions, which is quite tanky. So let's say you're taking 4 less damage from a whole wave. That's 24 less damage you're taking. 24 less damage is about 5% of your HP at level 1. Just under that. If you take 2 shots, let's say you step past the whole wave to trade with them, you're taking around 48 less damage. It adds up quite a bit early game, and not many people I've faced have spec'd completely into this reduced damage, meaning I win a lot of trades, and this is something that I believe you should all be doing. Now, obviously, this isn't just for top lane, you know. You people at mid lane and bot lane are going to be thinking, leave me alone, Windows. Okay. You at mid lane and bot lane thinking, you know, what about for me? Should I be taking these masteries? So I went ahead and did that. Mid lane mages have around the same base armor, actually slightly less, around 15, 16. But I decided I'd do it with that amount. Let's say give them some couple of armor. At 20 armor, how much increase are you getting? Same values here. At 12, 80 increase in armor. At 25, which is a caster minion, that's a 28 armor increase. So you're basically acting like you have anywhere between 50 and 100 armor against minions. As you'll notice, this is a reduced value compared to the 39 armor. Why is that? Because armor, I don't want to word this wrong. It's got diminishing returns, you could say, when you look at it one way. So many of you will know that with 100 armor, you reduce 50% of the damage, but with 50 armor, you reduce 33% of the damage. The percentage decrease is decreasing as more armor you get. So when you look at it that way, it is giving you diminishing returns. So once you've stacked higher armor, every point of damage you reduce after that is more effective. So that's why you see this disparity between results here. So with 39 armor, you're reducing quite a lot. You've got a lot of armor increase, effective armor increase. With 20, you've got a little bit. And then for the super squishy mages, so I'm talking Heimerdinger, you know, Oriana, these people who have 13 armor level 1, just with these masteries against minions, they'll have a 68 armor increase against melee minions and 25 increase against caster minions. Now, this isn't just about minions. How does this scale into late game, you say? You're saying, you know, all these other masteries here, they're much better late game, you know. I'd much rather have 1.5% damage, less, more health regen, you know, all these things. How does it scale into late game? So I made the same graph, except when you have 100 armor. But obviously, by the time you get to 100 armor, minion damage is not going to be a factor. You want to be looking at a lot of incoming damage. You know, these AD carries are going to be starting to build their BF swords. These mages are going to be start like chunking you. So you want to see how effective this is. So this is against minions when you have 100 armor. You gain an effective armor increase of 35-ish when you have 50 incoming damage, and around 5 when you have 250-ish. But obviously, minions are not going to be a huge part. Most often, you'll not even fight next to minions. You'll be fighting a dragon, you'll be fighting a baron. So when you get to this point, it's going to be objective-driven fights. So let's change the graph to reflect that. So instead of 4 reduced damage, it's now going to be 2. So we got 2. Change the formula. Now you can see, if you have 100 incoming damage, then the effective armor increase is around. So I can draw a straight line this time. Let's see. 8 increase in armor with 2 reduced damage. So here's an interesting thing. These points give you let's 2, 4, 6 increased damage, increased armor. Sorry, 2, 4, 6. There we go. Here with 2 reduced incoming damage. So with Indomitable, 1, 2. There with 1, 2. You're effectively increasing your armor by 8. So that's a higher increase than what you're getting with hardiness here. Now, what about early game? How does that match up early game? So we go back to our 39 armor graph, and instead of 4 reduced damage, we'll do 2 reduced damage again. You see, against champions, let's say 39 armor, level 1. Your enemy is going to have around 80 or hitting you for 80-ish every time. So around here, how much is it hitting you for? Ooh, just under. Let's actually exact up. 80. Oh, exactly 5. So you gain an increase of 5 armor at level 1, effectively just due to the reduced incoming damage. So speak into these, that's plus 6 armor. Speak into these, that's plus around another 5 armor. So you're getting effectively around 10 armor alone just from masteries. Not to mention the extra reduced damage you get against from minions, which gives you where was it again? There. Here now it's giving you around extra 50, 100 armor, 120 and 40. So the armor boosts are quite a lot. So you gain extreme tankiness against minions. You gain durability that stacks up against hardiness. And not only that, reduced incoming damage affects damage over time extremely well. So when you have someone like Cassiopeia, who does damage over time in ticks, so you know, let's say it's ticking at you for 50 damage per tick and across 5 ticks, each of those 50 is going to be reduced by 2. So with reduced incoming damage, you can see that the effective resistance increase is quite a lot. So when you're reducing that 50 damage per tick, when you're reducing 2 damage from that 50 damage per tick, it's actually quite a high resistance increase, which means against incoming damage that is damage over time or just damage that happens in small quantities, you're going to be gaining extreme resistance. So not only that, and it's effective against magical damage as well. So it's a double in one, 2-in-1 whammy. So you gain anywhere between 5 and 120 effective armor, depending on where you look at it, just with these 2 to 4 points. So this is the reason why I have changed all my top lane specs from 21.9 to 9.21, because let's take a look at this top lane masteries. You go, you do something like this, don't you? Here. So what do you gain instead of for going 21.9 as opposed to 9.21? So if you went to 9, you'd stop at weapon expertise. But going on, you gain critical strike damage and AD per level. Go back to these champions here. Go back to these champions here. Not many of them rely on critical strikes. Not one of these people build glass cannon. They always go, you know, partially tanky. Well, apart from Tryndamere here. Tryndamere is an exception. So, apart from anyone that does not rely on critical strikes, you know, Riven, for example, you don't stand to gain at all from those masteries. So, critical damage increase, a waste. 80 per level. This is a tiny boost. 9 attack damage to champion level 18. That's minuscule. It's not as great as it's cocked up to be. And putting 4 points into that is quite a hefty investment. Okay, let's look at the other masteries. 3% lifesteal. This is useful when you are auto-attacking quite a lot. With the lifesteal nerfs, it is a bit more effective, I guess you could say, but frankly, I've never actually felt the effects of the sustain, because if you're hitting for, let's say, 50 damage per hit, 3% of that is 1.5 HP. I gain 1.5 HP extra because of every hit. With health regen, I can do the same, except, let's see, at 3 health per 5 seconds, 3 divided by 5, it's, what was that, 0.6 health per second? And here I'm getting, what, 1.2, did I say? I get half the increase in gain in there, and it's something I'm willing to give up to gain the extra resistances from the masteries. Next mastery, 6 armor penetration. Now that's a tough one, so you have to decide how much you want to do. So I mean, armor penetration is an extremely valuable stat. It's not something you can get out of any other item, or I mean, it is something you can get out of items, but usually it's something you don't spec into, short of buying a brutalizer, etc. at top lane. This is the only mastery, I'd say, that's worth going 21.9 on 80 bruiser for. Damage dealt to targets below 40% health. That's once again something that's champion specific, so if you got people like Garen, who's got execution ability, Lee Sin execution ability, it's quite helpful, but these two masteries is not something I'd give up. I'd take over taking reduced incoming damage from minions and every other champion source. Health regen, maximum health, cooldown reduction, movement speed, and just increase maximum health and CC reduction. Being a bruiser, you can surely build damage. You can blow glass cannon, but it's not as effective. I mean, there are very few top laners who go completely glass cannon, and those are the champs I take 21.9 on. Every other champion I go 9.21, simply because of the superiority of the Indomitable Mastery, Tough Skin Mastery, and Initiator, which is something I love as well, which helps so much during late game, just for positioning and just initiating, things like that. So, well, you've seen the math. You've seen that gives you lots of armor, effective armor, no matter what you do. I told you my opinion. I think it's very, very effective. That's pretty much all I can give you. It's up to you to decide whether you want to spec into these masteries, whether you want to take critical strike damage on Riven over, you know, reduced damage from everything. So, I'm not trying. I'm pretty biased here because it's what I take. So, make of it what you will. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it's been helpful. Try it out in a game. I implore you to, and hopefully you like it. Hopefully you found it useful. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, like it. If you want to watch more, subscribe. Obvious things. Thanks for watching. It's DiffTheEnder, and I'm signing out.